Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Martial Universe Season 9 Part 6 based on novel. So let's start. Two of them. The expressions of Ji Yu Yang's group changed slightly when they heard that Lin Dong was actually planning on stopping two demonic beasts at the half-step into profound life stage. After all, the demonic beasts before them were not ordinary. Against such creatures, even an expert with the similar strength of the half-step into profound life stage would have difficulty obtaining victory. Forget it. Lin Dong stared at the three demonic beasts in front of him. He suddenly frowned slightly as his eyes looked in the direction where the Black Dragon pirates had hurried towards earlier. If they were held back here, it was likely that the life mysterious spirit fruit would have another owner. Miss Ji Yu Yang, you should bring everyone and leave first. I will deal with these three demonic beasts. Ji Yu Yang originally thought that Lin Dong was planning to abandon the plan to fight against two beasts alone after considering his strength when the latter uttered the first sentence. However, his subsequent words caught them off guard. All of them stared at Lin Dong with astonished gazes. This fellow was actually planning on stopping these three half-step into profound life stage demonic beasts alone. There is not much time. All of you should give chase first. Otherwise, the life mysterious spirit fruit might end up being snatched away by someone else. Lin Dong was aware of the shock in their hearts as he continued to explain. Ji Yu Yang hesitated for a moment. However, she quickly clenched her teeth and nodded. From their interactions over the past few days, Lin Dong did not appear to be a reckless and arrogant person. Since he said that he would stop the three demonic beasts, it was likely that he had the confidence to back his words. Moreover, they really could not waste any time here. Be a little more careful. Withdraw if you cannot fight them. We will withdraw first and wait for you in front. Ji Yu Yang was decisive. Without further ado, she issued a reminder to Lin Dong, before waving her hand and took the lead to rush towards the depths of the mountain. The other members of the Ji Yu clan behind her also followed after a brief hesitation. Big brother Lin Dong, be careful. We will wait for you. Ji Yu spoke in a worried voice. Yeah. Lin Dong waved his hand with his back facing everyone. His eyes were locked onto the three demonic beasts in front of him. After the sound of rushing wind appeared from behind him, his eyes finally began to gradually harden. Three half-step into profound life stage demonic beasts were not easy to deal with. Deep and brutal roars sounded from the three large demonic beasts. Those scarlet beast eyes flickered with cunning and cruelness. With their strength having reached such a stage, they already possessed substantial intelligence. If their bloodlines were a little purer, it was likely that they would have long been able to turn into human form. If that was the case, they would be even more troublesome to deal with. The three half-step profound life stage demonic beasts did not stop the members of the Ji Yu clan from leaving. Their beast eyes were locked onto Lin Dong. This was because they could sense a dangerous feeling from him. Those scarlet beast eyes were tightly glued to Lin Dong. In the next moment, an ominous glint flitted across the three beasts' eyes. Their feet landed, and they directly turned into three scarlet light rays, which attacked Lin Dong with an extremely tricky formation. These three demonic beasts already knew how to cooperate and amplify their battle power. Lin Dong's eyes were quite grave as he faced the perfect cooperation of these three beasts. His toes pushed off the ground, and dodged two bloody-smelling winds in an agile manner while withdrawing at the same time. Swoosh! However, his body was just about to pull back when another bloody wind appeared from behind him. A ferocious cheetah-like demonic beast clawed at the vital spot behind his heart, intending to pierce it. Bang! Lin Dong forcibly turned his body while it was in the air, as green light gathered on his fist. A faint yet deep dragon roar resounded across the area. Subsequently, the fist collided head-on against the demonic beast's sharp claw. At this moment, a deep muffled noise echoed, while a powerful energy ripple swept apart. Lin Dong was forced a dozen steps back while the demonic beast shot downwards, and created a 12 feet long scar on the ground. Swoosh swoosh! Roars were emitted from two locations around Lin Dong after that demonic beast fell to the ground. After which, he saw that the three half-step into profound life stage demonic beasts had already surrounded him. Their attacks had actually possessed a rather exquisite formation. What troublesome demonic beasts! Lin Dong's eyes narrowed as he watched this scene. This was the first time that he had seen demonic beasts cooperating at such a sophisticated level. However, I currently don't have any time to waste with all of you, Lin Dong muttered to himself. Currently, there were many experts hurrying towards the depths of mysterious Spirit Mountain. He did not wish to be held back here while others were splitting the treasure. Who? A breath of white air was slowly exhaled through Lin Dong's throat. Soon after, green light began to flicker on the surface of his body. The green light quickly became richer, as faint green light dragon tattoos surfaced on Lin Dong's skin, while a green dragon entrenched itself deep within his eyes. Roar! A deep dragon roar was emitted from within Lin Dong's body. It appeared to resonate with the air, while an intimidating and oppressive aura that could not be hidden quietly spread outwards. As this aura spread, a frightened expression immediately flashed across the scarlet eyes of the three demonic beasts. Their originally ferocious auras had been forcefully suppressed by him at this moment. A fear, which originated from their bloodlines and soul, rose in the face of the dragon aura. It was likely that they would have been frightened to the point of turning around and fleeing if it was not because of their half-step into profound life-stage strength. Swoosh! Resplendent green light exploded from Lin Dong's body. Quickly after, the green light dragon tattoos left the surface of his skin. They turned into 4 green light dragons that orbited around Lin Dong's limbs. A great dragon-like strength seemed to be emitted as they shuttled around. Swish! Lin Dong clenched his hand slightly, as he sensed a frightening strength that could destroy a mountain. A satisfied smile was lifted from the corners of his mouth. In the next instant, he suddenly stomped his foot. Crack spread like a spiderweb from the spot where his foot landed, while his body turned into a flash of light that suddenly shot forward. Boom! Lin Dong's figure appeared in front one of the demonic beasts. Green light subsequently surged, as a fist was thrown forward. The green light dragon that lingered around his arm whistled out and ruthlessly smashed into the hard shield-like demonic beast's body. Green light arcs burst out from Lin Dong's fist. Soon after, an exceptionally low and deep sound resounded. The large body of the demonic beast immediately flew backwards, as a miserable beast roar echoed in the forest. Roar roar! Ominous glints flickered within the eyes of the 2 remaining demonic beasts when they saw this. However, before they could attack, Lin Dong's figure had once again appeared in front of them in a ghost-like manner. His lower half was like a whirlpool, as both of his legs drew green light orbits in the air. Subsequently, a dragon roar rang out. It was accompanied by a mountain-like strength as it ruthlessly landed on their bodies. Bang bang! Wild and violent energy poured out like a storm. The enormous bodies of the 2 demonic beasts also flew backwards, before heavily crashing onto the ground as a loud rumbling sound was emitted. Lin Dong's body hovered in the air. Green light dragons circled around his body. From a distance, he looked just like a dragon king that was emitting an endless amount of pressure. Roar! The 3 injured demonic beasts once again struggled to climb to their feet. However, fear was surging within their eyes at this moment. The heavenly dragon pressure from Lin Dong's body had greatly suppressed their strength. Even though this was the case, they were strong and ferocious by nature. Even at this moment, they were still unwilling to withdraw. All they did was cautiously lock their eyes onto Lin Dong, and wait for an opportunity to kill him with a single strike. Lin Dong watched this scene and frowned slightly. Soon after, the green light in his eyes became even more intense. Resplendent green light erupted from his body. Quickly after, the green light shook, and his body turned into a giant green dragon, while the heavenly dragon pressure that filled the place also suddenly strengthened. Dense horror finally rose in the eyes of the 3 demonic beasts after the green dragon appeared out of nowhere. Swoosh! A dozen figures quickly flew across the deep forests. At the same time, their gazes were cautiously sweeping their surroundings. Elder sister Ji Yu Yang, nothing will happen to big brother Lin Dong, right? Ji Yu Ya followed behind Ji Yu Yang, while occasionally glancing behind her. Finally, she could no longer resist and opened her mouth to inquire. Ji Yu Yang knitted her brows. She slightly shook her head and replied, "No one will do something that would end up getting themselves killed. He is no exception. Since he chose to remain behind, it is likely that he has some confidence. Moreover, with his strength, it should not be difficult to escape even if he is unable to finish off the 3 demonic beasts." The corners of Ji Yu Yang's eyes involuntarily glanced behind her after her words sounded. If Lin Dong was really stopped here, they would be in a rather bad situation. I hope that he really has something to back his words, Ji Yu Yang muttered. However, her eyes suddenly became focused after her voice sounded. She abruptly turned her head and saw a familiar skinny figure a short distance away. This figure was flying over like a thunderbolt. A bloody scent was vaguely emitted from his body. All the members of the Ji Yu clan stopped at this moment. Their faces were shocked as they watched the young figure swiftly rushing over from behind. They've been dealt with. Let's get moving. We'll head directly to the depths of Mysterious Spirit Mountain. There should no longer be any obstructions in front. Lin Dong merely gave a faint smile in response to their shock. Without any additional explanation, his body shot out and headed towards the depths of the mountain forest. Behind him, a group of young people were still caught up in their shock. Lin Dong's group did not meet any tough foes during their subsequent journey. After all, there were only 8 half-step into profound life-stage demonic beasts in the huge Mysterious Spirit Mountain. Earlier, 3 of them had been finished off by Lin Dong, and it was likely there were no longer any demonic beasts of that level present in the area. Although there were numerous ordinary demonic beasts, they were naturally unable to stop the fearsome Lin Dong group. Swoosh! A dozen figures pushed off tree branches with the tips of their feet, using the resultant force to rush forward. Finally, they broke through the dense forest. The glaring sunlight that shot into their eyes instantly caused them to squint a little, before swiftly opening their eyes again. The area that entered their sights was a lush greenery that was filled with life force. An unusually large lake was located in the distance. The lake was 1,000 feet large and its waters sparkled under the sunlight. A gentle breeze blew across the tranquil lake, causing some ripples to be formed. Some rushing wind sound were heard from their surroundings when Lin Dong's group appeared around the lake. A couple of figures also swept out from the forest and finally landed around the lake. This is the deepest part of Mysterious Spirit Mountain. Ji Yu Yang's eyes watched the calm lake. Some excitement also flashed deep within her eyes as she spoke in a low voice. Lin Dong nodded slightly. He could sense the majestic life force in this area. The natural yuan power in this place was many times richer compared to elsewhere. Looks like all of them have arrived. Lin Dong's eyes swept across the lake surroundings. The Wei clan and the other powerful factions, which they had met at the foot of the mountain, had mostly successfully reached this place. However, from the traces of blood that adhered to their bodies, one could tell that their journey was far from peaceful. While Lin Dong's eyes were observing his surroundings, the group from the Black Dragon Pirates were staring at them from afar with surprise. Soon after, their expressions became a little ugly. Clearly, they did not expect that Lin Dong's group would actually be able to so swiftly shake off 3 half-step into profound life-stage demonic beasts. Those fellows, Ji Yu Yang's eyes were icy as she looked at those people from the Black Dragon Pirates. Clearly, she was a little furious because of their craftiness from earlier. Lin Dong glanced at the group from the Black Dragon Pirates indifferently. After which, he withdrew his gaze and turned towards the middle of the lake, where a small green island was located. A mysterious halo of light faintly scattered from the middle of the island. The life mysterious spirit fruit will only appear when the sun and moon cross each other. That time is quickly approaching. Ji Yu Yang glanced at the gradually descending sun and said, "Where is that 3-headed demon snake?" Lin Dong's gaze shifted from side to side as he asked. Ji Yu Yang had previously mentioned that there was an initial profound life-stage 3-headed demon snake in the deepest part of Mysterious Spirit Mountain. It should be hiding in the lake depths. After attaining such strength, its intelligence is no longer inferior to that of a human. Ji Yu Yang solemnly looked at the calm and unfathomable lake with some caution and said. Lin Dong nodded slightly. He was aware that this was merely the calm before the storm. Once the life mysterious spirit fruit appeared, it was likely that this place would descend into chaos. At that time, the situation would definitely be a complete mess. All of them would have to depend on their own abilities in order to obtain the life mysterious spirit fruit from amidst the chaos. The atmosphere around the lake became a little more tense as the various factions gathered. There was rich caution and hostility in their eyes as they looked at each other. Wei Song's group stood in the distance. His indifferent eyes swept over Lin Dong's group, before a cold smile immediately surfaced from the corners of his mouth, while malicious intent swam within his eyes. Lin Dong had naturally also detected Wei Song's dark and cold gaze. However, he merely glanced at the latter before withdrawing his gaze. The Wei clan group might be powerful, but the only one that could enter his eyes was that divine symbol master. If that group dared to have any ill intent towards them, Lin Dong would definitely not be merciful. Forget about their background, he would finish them off first before thinking about it. Time quickly passed amidst this tensed atmosphere, while the hot sun in the sky also slowly descended. At the same time, the moon began to leisurely surface on the other side of the sky. Buzz. The moment both the sun and moon appeared, everyone could sense that the Yuan power in the depths of mysterious Spirit Mountain suddenly began to surge violently. The land trembled slightly, as ripples were formed on the calm lake. A bright glow continued to scatter from the small island at the middle of the lake. The life mysterious spirit fruits are about to appear. Ji Yuyan anxiously spoke in a low voice when she saw this scene. Her voice appeared both anxious and joyful. Lin Dong snapped to attention upon hearing this, as excitement gushed out in his eyes. Rumble. The island at the middle of the lake began to shake even more intensely, while the light that was emitted from the land became even stronger. At the end, many cracks began to spread from the island. Soon after, a giant tree, that was completely emerald green like a kingfisher, slowly broke out from underground. This giant emerald green tree was just like a newborn baby. It grew from the ground, while its branches and leaves spread outwards. Meanwhile, circular green light patterns that were filled with the power of life continuously scattered. These light patterns gathered on the tree at an astonishing speed. Within them were 6 most resplendent glowing spots. Buzz buzz. The light intensified, and in the end, the light actually gradually solidified. The 6 spots where the light had converged directly turned into 6 emerald green fruits. These fruits hung on the branches, while circular light patterns lingered around them. Their proud life force caused the natural Yuan power in the air to appear as though it possessed life. 6 life mysterious spirit fruits. Ji Yuyan gazed at the 6 emerald green fruits that had formed on the tree. The joy in her pretty eyes grew even more intense. Are those the life mysterious spirit fruits? Why didn't the 3-headed demon snake take them away at an earlier time? Lin Dong observed the giant tree that had broken out from the island at the center of the lake and asked. This life mysterious spirit tree can form 9 life mysterious spirit fruits. Moreover, it will only mature when the 9th fruit appears. That 3-headed demon snake has been waiting all along. Unfortunately, it will not be able to wait for that day to arrive. Ji Yuyan explained. Lin Dong nodded slightly. If this 3-headed demon snake was to decisively remove the life mysterious spirit fruits before news of them spread, it was likely that no one would ever know that such a heavenly treasure existed in this place. Unfortunately, its greed might result in it being unable to keep even a single life mysterious spirit fruit. Who? Many burning red-hot gazes stared intently at the gently swaying giant tree on the island in the middle of the lake. Those 6 emerald green fruits were like nature's perfect creation. The life force being emitted by them continuously attracted their attention. Everyone's breathing became heavier. However, no one acted immediately. Lin Dong was not in a hurry when he saw this. He was aware that there would ultimately be someone who grew impatient. After all, the temptation of the life mysterious spirit fruit was not small at all. Swoosh! Lin Dong's guess was correct. Although those present were aware that it was no simple matter to obtain those life mysterious spirit fruits, even some of those who had great patience felt anxious when such magical treasures appeared in front of them. Hence, after a couple of minutes, there was finally someone who was unable to suppress the desire in his heart. A dozen figures rushed forward, and wildly charged towards the island in the middle of the lake. Lin Dong watched those figures as they rushed out. His eyes suddenly hardened the moment their bodies reached the air above the lake. Bang! An enormous water pillar suddenly exploded from the calm lake. From within the water pillar, many sharp jet-black water spears shot out. They shot towards those figures in the air from all directions. Splatter, splatter! The sharp water spears contained an extremely ferocious energy. The bodies of some unlucky fellows were immediately cut by the water spears, as blood flowed from their wounds. Subsequently, piercing miserable cries suddenly sounded. A jet-black color quickly spread outwards from their wounds, while their bodies swiftly festered. Evidently, they had been hit by an extremely deadly poison. Splash! Many figures fell into the lake amidst their miserable cries. Finally, they were pulled into the depths at the middle of the lake by something, and even their miserable screams vanished. Bang! A monstrous wave swept apart from the middle of the lake after these people fell into it. A moment later, everyone saw an enormous black figure swiftly appearing from within the lake, before it broke out of the water with a loud rumbling sound. Roar! The shadow of the enormous creature that broke out from the water enveloped 100 feet radius, while a monstrously vicious aura spread from it. Everyone around the lake looked at the enormous creature which had finally appeared, as their expressions also started to turn grave. Has it finally appeared? Lin Dong gazed at the huge demonic beasts with 3 giant heads, as he deeply exhaled. He could sense an extremely strong feeling of danger from the latter's body. This feeling was even stronger than Yuan Kang from back then. Clearly, this creature should be the overlord of mysterious Spirit Island, the 3-headed demon snake. Lake water poured down from the sky like a storm, before finally landing on the ground. Even the land itself trembled from its force. An enormous shadow covered the place from the air, while an intensely vicious aura spread, causing the expressions of everyone present to change. This is the 3-headed demon snake, huh? Lin Dong lifted his head. His expression was grave as he gazed at the enormous being that had appeared before his eyes. The part of this being that was exposed above the water surface was already several 100 feet large. Scarlet scales covered its large body like the toughest armor, and waves of extremely shocking strength were emitted each time the large body moved. There were 3 giant ferocious snake heads on the upper body of the creature. Each of these snake heads had a sharp horn. A densely cold luster flickered across them, causing those horns to appear as though they were sharp enough to tear apart space itself. Sizzle, sizzle. At this moment, the 3-headed demon snake was staring at the crowd around the lake with its cruel scarlet eyes. Such ferocity caused one's hair to stand. All of you actually dare to lay a hand on something that belongs to this king? A bunch of death-seeking fools. The 3-headed demon snake opened its huge mouth as it stared at everyone. Finally, an exceptionally dark and cold roar rumbled across the air. With its strength having reached this level, it was already possible for the 3-headed demon snake to speak human language. If it was willing, it could even turn into human form. However, its battle power would definitely be reduced if that happened. The current situation clearly did not allow it to do such a thing. All of you will immediately get out of Mysterious Spirit Island. Otherwise, I will not allow any of you to survive regardless of where you come from. Roar? The 3-headed demon snake suddenly bent its body and roared after its word sounded. A frightening stream of air swept apart. It was just like a storm as it uprooted the surrounding forest. Its momentum was frightening. Several people had a slight change in their expressions in the face of the 3-headed demon snake, which had revealed its killing intent. No matter how one put it, the latter was a genuine initial profound life stage expert. Additionally, it was strengthened by the constitution of a demonic beast. This made it even more difficult to deal with it. Although they had the numbers advantage, they still felt fear in their hearts. Ha ha, such natural treasures belong to those who have an affinity with them. Since we are able to come here, it means that we have an affinity with it. There are 6 life mysterious spirit fruits here, yet you wish to monopolize all of them. Aren't you a little too greedy? Wei Song laughed faintly while everyone was shaken by the ferocity of the three-headed demon snake. Everyone, although we can also be considered competitors, we currently have a mutual enemy. I suggest that we cooperate and finish off this big fellow first. How does that sound? Wei Song glanced at the various factions as he smiled. Wei Song was also clearly aware that it was difficult to deal with the three-headed demon snake. If he took it on with just his group alone, he would likely end up paying a rather hefty price. Bearing the losses alone while everyone looked on with ill intent was clearly an extremely foolish thing to do. The various factions around the lake looked at each other after hearing Wei Song's words. Finally, they nodded simultaneously. They were similarly aware of what Wei Song was thinking. However, in the face of this situation, it was indeed true that they needed to temporarily cooperate in order to finish off this troublesome three-headed demon snake. Let's cooperate. Otherwise, no one will be able to obtain the life mysterious spirit fruit. That lone wolf one-arm Moshon also spoke in a raspy voice at this moment. This was the first time that Lin Dong had heard him speak. Moreover, this person's words seemed to have quite a great amount of weight. Hence, many people threw their eyes towards him when he spoke. Ha ha, Brother Moshon is someone who can see the big picture. I have long heard that Brother Moshon's blade techniques are extremely formidable. It seems that today will be an eye-opener for me. Wei Song involuntarily chuckled after hearing this. Moshon glanced indifferently at Wei Song. His expression did not alter in the face of these words that were an attempt to establish a better relationship with him. Let's do it. An indifferent voice was transmitted from Moshon's mouth. In the next moment, he actually took the lead to rush forward. With a clench of his hand, a large black blade appeared in a flash. From the air, he suddenly slashed furiously at the three-headed demon snake. Bang! The blade flickered as a black light pattern swept downwards at an astonishing speed. Subsequently, it struck the three-headed demon snake with lightning speed. Immediately, a trace of blood appeared. The hard-scale armor seemed to have been slashed apart by the blade strike. What a sharp blade aura! Lin Dong's eyes hardened a little as he watched this scene. The blade aura of this Moshon was clearly extremely sharp. No wonder he possessed the ability to injure an initial profound life stage expert. Raw? The attack by Moshon also broke the standoff in the area. The three-headed demon snake's eyes turned completely scarlet red. It immediately opened its large snake mouth, as three foul-smelling black light pillars shot directly towards Moshon. Swoosh! While his body was in the air, Moshon's feet moved in a peculiar manner, narrowly dodging the three black light pillars had shot towards him. Soon after, some miserable cries sounded from behind him. A couple of unlucky individuals had been hit. They turned into a pile of white bones that emitted acidic fumes amidst these miserable cries. The energy of the three-headed demon snake clearly contained an extremely terrifying lethal poison. Attack! The piece was completely broken when the attack landed. Blood red rose in the eyes of the many surrounding factions. Subsequently, a rushing wind sound suddenly appeared, as numerous figures rushed forward, and powerful attacks enveloped the three-headed demon snake. We will also attack. Everyone be careful. Ji Yu Yang softly cried out after seeing this scene. It was extremely easy to be targeted by everyone if they did not attack at this moment. Therefore, it was basically impossible to sit back and watch while waiting to benefit from others' efforts. Lin Dong, if there is an opportunity later on, we will create an opening for you to snatch the life mysterious spirit fruits. What do you say? Ji Yu Yang looked at Lin Dong and asked. Okay. Lin Dong nodded. This situation was quite chaotic. If Ji Yu Yang's group was to get involved, it would save him a substantial amount of effort. Lin Dong no longer tarried after his voice sounded. His body moved and he took the lead to rush forward. Green light surged on his body, as he threw a punch. A powerful force ruthlessly smashed into the large body of the three-headed demon snake. Bang! However, this ferocious fist wind from Lin Dong merely resulted in a little dent on the scales of the three-headed demon snake. Such an injury was clearly nothing to the three-headed demon snake's large body. What a powerful defense! Lin Dong involuntarily licked his lips when he saw this. An initial profound life-stage demonic beast did indeed live up to its reputation. Bang bang bang. After Lin Dong's group joined the battle, the air above this lake had clearly become even more chaotic. Many figures continued to flit across the air. Soon after, attacks came pouring down like a storm and landed onto the huge body of the three-headed demon snake. Nevertheless, the three-headed demon snake did not end up in a disadvantage despite the ferocious attacks from everyone. As the three-snake heads swung back and forth, many foul-smelling black light pillars shot out. Anyone that was hit would immediately let out a miserable scream even if they were 9-yuan Nirvana stage experts. Their flesh would melt as they desperately maneuvered their yuan power to block the erosion from the poison. Splash splash. Many figures continued to fall into the lake from the air as both parties fought with red eyes. The originally clear lake had gradually begun to be dyed red. From this, one could see just how intense the battle was. Swoosh! Lin Dong stepped backwards, dodging a black light pillar, which passed by just in front of his chest. His eyes faintly flickered as he glanced at the three-headed demon snake below, which was still extremely lively despite being attacked from all sides by hundreds of experts. This three-headed demon snake's strength was indeed unusually great. However, it was unable to take on so many opponents alone. Its strength would be exhausted sooner or later if this dragged on. The temporary alliance would immediately collapse once the three-headed demon snake's strength weakened. At that time, those who had fought side by side earlier would unhesitatingly turn their blades towards those beside them. Oh! Lin Dong's eyes suddenly swept over the blood-red surface of the lake, as his pupils suddenly contracted. He could sense an extremely obscure ripple under the lake waters. This ripple was mental energy. Lin Dong slightly narrowed his eyes. His gaze swept over the group from the Wei clan and sure enough, he saw that the black-robed figure at the middle of the group had suddenly slowed. Clearly, he was splitting his attention in order to control something. They are indeed unwilling to be honest. Lin Dong laughed coldly. His body immediately borrowed the momentum from dodging to land on the surface of the lake. A golden light suddenly rushed out from under his feet when he made contact with the water surface and entered the lake, while his body once again charged out and joined the chaotic battlefield. Bang bang. The chaos continued in this somewhat crazy fashion while the 6 life mysterious spirit fruits on the small island began to emit a jade-green glow. They were so tempting that one's eyes would turn scarlet from looking at them. This video will end here.